Ladies and gentlemen, this is All Things Pro Wrestling with your host, Danny Harrow.
And my name is Mike Larkin, host of On the Mic with Mike and contributor to Capital Championship Wrestling's preview and recap shows.
Today, we are with the one and only, the Kick Demon, Janai Kai. Janai, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, good. We're finally getting this done. So feels
Yes.
it feels good. So right off the bat, I'm gonna let Michael here start.
Hello, Janai. First and foremost, it's an absolute pleasure and a privilege. I do a lot of the great works for Capital Championship Wrestling, which you have had so many great matches of so far with Vita Von Star, Becca, and recently at CCW Flatline at the legendary Monster Factory, defending your Ladies Night Out Championship against Renee Michelle, which congratulations on your win.
Thanks.
You're very welcome. I wanted to ask you about that because CCW is one of the prominent spots right now for women's wrestling. We've seen Shine, we've seen Rise, we've seen Shimmer, we've seen so many great action from many different women's wrestling organizations. I wanted to ask you, talk about being at CCW. It's a rather newer promotion, but god dang man, in each and every match you've shined. I wanted to ask about the last match here with Renee Michelle. You two had great chemistry, getting that victory in your championship match. Talk about the CCW experience.
Man, so being there, I was able to wrestle three women that I've never wrestled before, which was awesome because it's just somebody new to get in the ring with. And my experience has been great. The fans are very loyal. They're very like they're behind us, and I love the energy there. I always try to pay attention to like how the energy is like throughout the whole time, and of course like the locker room too. And all the women in the locker room are great. They're oh my gosh, they're so hardworking. Some of them I still want to work with. I want to get in the ring with, so I'm hoping to be back and to wrestle some of them.
I think that's the main thing when it comes to any professional wrestling locker room in general, the camaraderie. You see so much young, hungry talent really going out there and showing up and showing out, as you will. And Marcella really provides that great background of just the vision of storytelling and really, like you talk about, the crowd feeling and everything that goes into it. And personally, I can't wait to see you go back and have so many more great matches, possibly around two with Vita, around two with Becca. I think the sky's the limit for you when we see you again back in CCW.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
Now, you're part of the CCW roster, but you're also part of a roster in a different promotion. And I want to touch on it a little bit, which is GCW. You've done a lot in GCW. My question to you is what do you feel about GCW in terms of has it been a big part of your career and has it spotlighted you in more ways than you thought?
Yeah, so with GCW, I've been put in like many spots where I'm just very thankful to be part of. And especially just being part of Jersey Championship Wrestling, which is kind of like their little sister promotion. That's like one place for sure that I enjoy being at. And again, going back to working with people that I've never gotten to wrestle or just always wanted to be in the same locker room, basically. GCW is definitely it. Definitely one of them where I am experiencing that.
Now, is the GCW title, which is currently on Blake Christian, is that a goal of yours in GCW?
Ooh, see, I never thought about that because man, I just never thought of myself being in that spot in general. But you never know. I was very happy seeing Masha win, and I'm kind of upset that she lost it the way that she lost it. And so I'm just looking forward to seeing how that all goes down, if anything. And I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing.
I like it. I like it. GCW also has what they call, and they're kind of known for as well, their death matches. What are your thoughts on death matches, and is that something that might be there for you?
So I actually been asked to do a death match, but I chickened out on it. I am not like the best person I feel like to do those type of matches. I just like I'm just overthinking it, I feel like sometimes, but at the same time, it's just something that I am not about. Like my mentality is not as strong as those deathmatch wrestlers. I don't know how they do it. I felt how the glass feels like on the bottom of my feet because like sometimes when I wrestle at GCW, there's still some glass left over in that ring, and like I feel it, and I'm like checking myself after my match, and I'm like, how do they even like? I can't even like walk right sometimes. So I don't know if that would ever happen. I am, however, down to do more like hardcore matches, but I'm not gonna take it too far as like the death match type of level goes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame you. That's it's crazy. I mean, I was just front row for TOS, and I respect to everyone that gets in the ring, but it's definitely something I would definitely not put my body through at all. Um, all right, so let's go back a couple months. You had your first trip to Japan for TJ PW. How is that? Before we even get into you being in Japan, how did that even come about?
So this came about, it was like around fall last year when they reached out to me and they let me know like information of like when they would like me to be there and basically how the whole process goes. And so I went ahead and started that whole process. Like there's a bunch of documents that you have to fill out, you have to bring to the embassy, all of that stuff. And so they originally wanted me to go in October, but there was like certain things that we couldn't get on time, so we scratched that date out. And then they asked me for like early January, and like there was another issue with paperwork. So I was able to like get that done so that I can come in February. So yeah, there was like a lot of processing that that we had to go through, but we finally made it happen. Yeah, like that was in fall when they first reached out to me.
So you finally make it happen, right? So a personal question of mine is: was there any anxiety before even going to Japan in terms of the 12-hour flight, having to be away from the US, things like little things like that? Was that like on your mind before even going to Japan?
Um, I wouldn't, yeah, I would say like there was like probably a little bit, but at the same time, I knew I was ready. It was just that overall confidence that I had in myself because it is a huge goal of mine. And it was just like that, like I just snapped back into everything and I was like, okay, this is it. This is me. I know I'm good for it. There's no reason to like be extra nervous, like, oh, I don't know if I'm good enough or whatever, because I know I am. So that's kind of like what was going through my mind. And I think if anything, I felt the nerves when I was like at the venue over there. That's when it kind of hit me more.
Talking about being at the venue, how was that fan base? I know you had two matches. You had a singles and then you had a tag team. So how was that fan base overall before your match, during your match, after your match, like all around? How was that fan base in Japan?
So the fan base is definitely very different than over here. Um, but you feel that energy where it's like you know they're paying attention and you know they appreciate that you're even there. So I definitely enjoyed it, just like doing my match and feeling that type of energy, because it's so quiet. And during that time, they couldn't yell because they still had like their own COVID protocols. So they
Okay.
couldn't yell because like sometimes they do scream out like the wrestlers' names and stuff like that. They couldn't throw streamers, like nothing like that. So it was actually more quiet than it usually is. Um, but yeah, I and then afterwards,
Did,
after the
did that?
show, we did. What was that? I'm sorry.
Oh, no, yeah, I was gonna say, did that like impact you wrestling, like not hearing the crowd that you're used to like hearing and stuff like that?
Not really, because I've watched so much Japanese wrestling where I kind of expected it to be that way. I wasn't like thinking like, oh, why aren't they like coming up for this? You know what I'm saying? So
Okay.
it was fine. It was totally cool. Like it didn't impact any part of that. But yeah, like after the show when I was selling merch, that's when they were able to like to come up to me and talk to me and like they share that they like my style and like they already wanted to see when I would be coming back and all of that. So it was cool. It was a cool experience.
I think you were there for 2 weeks, right? Around 2 weeks.
Yeah, yeah.
So how is the environment in Japan, like outside of like the wrestling, just being in Japan for that long? or some might say a short amount of time. How was the environment over there? Like while you were going to stores, just walking around and stuff like that.
It's pretty surreal to be honest, because like every time I stepped outside the hotel room, I'm like looking around, I'm like, wow, where do I go? Like it's like it's not it didn't seem like a real place to me. Like every time I would step out, I'm like, dang, like it actually looks like the pictures. Like, is this for real? Like it was just like so surreal in a sense where it's like I can't believe I'm here. I'm just like actually living the pro wrestling life, like going overseas. And I'm also by myself. I'm by myself roaming around this country, uh, in a big, big city too, at that. And there's not a lot of English speakers. It's just like very minimal. So it's like I tried my best to get around, and I did get around pretty well, to be honest, because I was trying to make sure that I had like my translator in hand. The map was very helpful, which I was shocked about. I was using like Google Maps. But overall, it was a cool environment because it's also like not too loud, shockingly, in the city. And like when you're in the subway, like the train, it's also kind of quiet. It's not too loud like how like the train system is over here. So it was like a different vibe. I definitely knew that I was in a different place for sure. But I loved it.
Was it everything you expected when you got there? Like, was it everything you imagined in your head, or was it like exceeding your expectations?
It was sort of both because I've always wanted to go to Tokyo since I was a little girl. So I always like did my research on like how it is in different parts of it, the styles over there, stuff like that. So I kind of knew and was expecting it to be the way it was. But it was still also very surreal. The stuff that I saw, like I only saw pictures of when I was like growing up. So it was kind of cool to see in person.
I will say,
Yeah.
oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, man.
No, go ahead.
All right, cool. Janai, I got to say, one of the best things about professional wrestling is really being the best representation of your presentation and watching your work from all different companies and different facets of life within the professional wrestling industry. You have such precision and you have such a dedication to your craft. I wanted to ask you about how just women's wrestling, just in general, we've seen from the 80s with the Medusa Michellis, the sensational Sherry Martels, to where we got in the Attitude Era, to where we are now with women of Shine, AEW, Impact Wrestling, WWE, what have you. I wanted to ask you because a lot of women out there are looking to get into professional wrestling. And mind you, professional wrestling is a very tough business. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it. I wanted to ask you as well, because you being the influential part that you are right now, how does it feel for you to be one of the inspirations for the women now and to the next generation to come? Because you definitely have that spark and, like I mentioned, precision, but you do really have that overall ability just to be that inspiration. How does that make you feel being one of the prominent roles of women's wrestling and in professional wrestling today?
It feels pretty good. Because actually lately I've been meeting like more kids and more little girls too, who are like even wearing my shirt or like their parent shares with me like, oh, like she's always asking about you and stuff like that, or like she tried to do something that you did in the ring, like at home, like this things like that. And it's pretty cool because like that kind of used to be me when I was little, trying to like be like the divas back then and stuff like that. So it's a cool feeling, and to sometimes I do have that moment where I kind of like sit and like think like I'm kind of making like my own little cool career here, where it's kind of like how I always, looked up to the other woman when I was little. So it's cool to kind of think about that. And then also just watching back old tapes, like old Shimmer tapes and stuff like that. And then now I'm being part of these like more all woman promotions and thinking, oh, 10 years later, this girl is going to watch back and see my match. And I sometimes think about that. So it's kind of cool to think like someone's going to be like tape studying me someday.
I think it's the moments and memories created and moments and memories yet to be created. And speaking of moments, I think from where you are, as soon as you leave that curtain, it's the moment of just making every moment count. And like you said, tape trading is such a big thing. Like if a lot of women want to go back, you could see a young Sarah Del Rey against a Daisy Hayes. You could see a Lacey.
Yeah.
You could see so many talents from that day. Tape studying is so important. And I think that's just discipline all in itself, all in one, you know?
Hmm.
You have been very fortunate to travel, right? You obviously you wrestle here in the US, you've wrestled in Japan, and I believe last month you made a last minute trip to London for a promotion, Eve. That was so last minute for you, I believe, right? I believe
Yeah.
there was a show that was canceled in AC for this festival. You, amongst other GCW roster talent, put up that they were open for bookings, and next thing you know, you're going to London. How crazy was that? Because I just for me following you, I saw the post like I'm booked, and then next thing you know, you're going to London. I'm like, where did that come from?
Yeah. Yeah, because when I made that post, someone just tagged Eve because they were having a show that day, and I'm like, oh, okay, like, like that's not gonna. I don't know if that's gonna happen, but okay, thank you for tagging me for them so they can actually see my work sometime. And they did hit me up because they always did follow me on Twitter. But yeah, like for them to like be able to bring me that last minute, it was very shocking to me. Um, but again, very thankful for social media at the same time because hey, I think a lot of us take it for granted because you can easily get booked nowadays rather than back then where we didn't have access. So we didn't have like social media like this where we can get booked like that. So again, I was just very thankful that that even happened for it to be last minute. And I was kind of like concerned too because I didn't know the whole process to go over there. Like, what documents do I need? Like, I do have my passport, but there's like other just like other visa questions that I had for them. Like, what do I do? How do I get over there? And they're like, don't worry about it. We're gonna figure it out right now. Hopefully, we can get these documents in by Thursday or whatever, and they did, and they were able to bring me over. So it's pretty cool. I loved being over there. It was a fun experience. Eve is another show too that I watched some of their shows from like a few years back and like kind of saw the whole vibe there and I loved it. And so it was cool to now be a part of that.
Um, so was it a no brainer? Like, yeah, I'll go, or did you have to sit on there for a bit? Even like I know you said like you didn't know the documents that were required and all that, but aside from that, was it
Yeah.
a yes or was it? Let me like you had to sit on it.
Oh, I immediately took it because there was nobody else offering that date for me. Like they were the first people. When I said that I was available, they were the first to reach out to me. So I was like, okay, cool, booked, done.
So how long were you there?
I was there for I think it was 3 days because I did. Yeah, I did a Friday show and then I did the Saturday show and then Sunday was a day off where I spent the whole day just being a tourist and then I left that Monday.
So you had only one day to kind of explore,
Mhm.
which leads me to my next question. Are there any plans on going back?
Well, I am open to going back. I know they have more shows coming up very soon and they have like other storylines and other things going on regarding that. So, we'll see what happens. I would love to go back because again, it was a great experience and this was another show where there's other women in the locker room that I would like to get in the ring with. So we'll see.
Oh, well, I hope to see you back there. So I want to touch on something that I've seen from, I guess, outside looking in. You and your fan base, would you say, well, one, what does your fan base mean to you? And is it fair to say that you're close to your fan base slash supporters? Just saying that because of the Discord you have your Twitch, you have your Patreon, and like I said, from the outside looking in, I can see how interactive you are with your fan base. So it would it be fair to say that you're close to them and that they mean a lot to you in your career?
Yeah, like if anything, I'm trying to get closer to them because I feel like I'm starting out right now. Like I'm still trying to connect with everybody. So I'm trying to find different um social media platforms too where I can do that. That's why I am trying to just promote my Twitch more and also my Patreon. Like I'm trying to connect more on Patreon as well. And then I my goal for sure is to just keep going live like on Instagram and everything. Um, but that's a big thing for me is to definitely connect because I know how important it is for fans as well to want to connect and relate to a wrestler. So, and I think it's cool. I think it's cool to not only like just connect with them online, but then when we meet in person, it's an awesome feeling. And I kind of can put more of a face to a name to a face type thing. I can kind of do that a lot more too. And yeah, I think it's getting better for myself now that I'm thinking about it. Because like last year, I feel like I wasn't really connecting with everybody, but this year I definitely stepped it up and I want to do a lot more for sure.
Yeah, I could definitely tell like firsthand, like I've been on the Twitch streams and stuff, like a lot of people do talk to you like how do I put this, like someone that they know, and they will like it doesn't always have to be wrestling related in the conversations, you know, they talk about their day and stuff like that, and that's pretty cool to see that someone of your level can just talk to them like their friends and stuff. And I think
Mhm.
I can speak for some of them when I say that's truly appreciated.
I think the interaction and connectivity, and like Janai said earlier, with the operative word meaning social media, everybody talks about pros and cons here, but I think with just the promotion side of things and the interaction, there's more of that positive side, not just we see in social media, but in today's world. I think the united, not divided front, especially in the world of professional wrestling, like where a lot of people would say it's very cutthroat, some it's very tough, but also at the end of the game, you're all in the same locker room. You're all providing and telling the story to the viewer. I think the consumer can take it in with your character and the representation. And I think just so much in today's social media world is really great. And that really showcases with your Twitch streams and your overall social media basis, Janai.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So you were now are a former Ladies Night Out champion. To me, in my eyes, that title was about, well, I think in everybody's eyes, that title was about representing the ladies in professional wrestling. So how did it feel to you to hold that title for the amount of time that you did?
Oh, it was great. Like I did have a good handful of defenses, title defenses, and again, I got to wrestle more women that I haven't gotten to step in the ring with, some that were new to the business as well. So it was cool to kind of like defend it in that way. That's more of what I enjoy out of it more than anything. Of course, to represent it, to be like the representative of that, but like to also kind of just look forward to to sharing the ring with other women and giving them that kind of platform and opportunity as well. So it was cool. Ladies Night Out has been around for quite some time and they do so well. They draw really well. And they're always like they always post on YouTube. So I definitely recommend anyone who's a fan of just women's wrestling in general to check them out.
All right. So you went to Japan, came back, went to London, came back, and just you announced, I think like last week on your Instagram, you're going back to Japan next month. How did that come about, and how excited are you to go back to Japan?
So that actually, so it's gonna be with this promotion. It's called Great. They pronounce it as Great, but it's spelled like Gleet. A lot of people call it Gleet, but it's pronounced Great. Um, and they are fairly new. Um, they actually reached out to me, I believe it was the beginning of this year. Well, it was one of the representatives. They reached out to me earlier, but they said that they'll let me know. And then it was just like a few months passed by, and then January hit, And they finally reached out to me again, asking if I can, and they already gave me dates, like they were ready for it. So they gave me some dates, and I told them that I'm actually going to be with TJPW during that time. So they were like, "Oh, okay, that's fine. Just let us know whenever you can or you're ready to, if you want to, just reach out to us." And I said, "Okay, yeah, for sure." So yeah, like that's just how it basically came up. And so I did my TJPW 2 week tour, and after that, I wanted to make sure that I even do the Mania show too. So TJPW did confirm with me that they want me for the Mania show. And so I told myself, okay, after the Mania show, I'm going to ask to see if it's okay that I can go and wrestle for Great. Because I don't want any tension or any issues. Because over there, they take it, some of the promotions take it very seriously as to who's part of the roster and who goes where. So I wanted to make sure that I asked for permission first. And they said that it was okay that I could do that. And so that's when I reached out to Great and I was like, hey, I'm good to go. Like I can go and wrestle for you guys if the offer is still available. And they said, yeah, they'll give me the dates, which they did. Like it took them a few days and then they gave me a whole list of dates. So I will be going for their July 1st show. And then I'll be coming back and then I'll be going back to Japan for a longer time.
So it seems like, yeah, I was gonna say, it seems like you'll be in Japan for quite a while. How excited are you for that? That's literally like you said, something you've always wanted to do. You did it, came back,
Yeah.
now you're gonna do it again. So
Yeah, I'm very excited because like after I left Japan the first time, I was like, no, this cannot be the last time that I'm even there because I got such good feedback and response based overall to my run over there. I was even featured in the magazine, like because of like the championship match that I had, and just a lot of positive words were said. So I was like, okay, I definitely did really good. I should be coming back. Like I have a feeling that I'm gonna be back. So that was just over how I was feeling. And I'm very thankful again to even be offered a spot with another company too. Not just like
yeah,
the same way. It's another one that wants me there. So it's cool that they're even interested in having me a part of a promotion like that.
yeah. I'm totally excited to see what happens there. So we talked a little bit about your singles career. I kind of want to touch base on tag team, yeah, which we have this podcast, and what a guy, what a guy. But yeah, Yokai, how how does it feel like teaming with Yoya? I mean, and not only that, you guys have had amazing tag team matches with amazing tag teams. Besides your singles career, is how important is it to be together with Yoya in the team of Yokai? And is there any like plans to go for any tag team gold?
So it's great teaming with him because we kind of have this like cool chemistry and clash of styles happening when we team up together. And we kind of look at things differently than others when it comes to tag teaming, I feel like, especially as a like an intergender tag. Well, we kind of want to be more cohesive with our movesets, like when we're doing basically everything together at the same time. We're trying to separate ourselves basically from like other intergender tags out there, and I feel like we are, and we look different. The goal is definitely to get matching gear. That's what we need.
Well,
But
he told me that
yeah.
is a no go because he has to waste all his money on gambling. I am snitching on Yoya.
Oh no.
That's what he told.
See? That's another thing. We have to straighten his priorities because if he wants to continue to tag and get some gold, we got to look like, we are gold basically.
Yeah.
So if I'll have a little chat with him about that. Um, but as far as yeah, as the whole like getting some gold somewhere, hey, I mean we're up for it. I feel like some people kind of forget about us. So we're gonna continue to just put ourselves out there and make it more known. That's why I try to take advantage of like the matches that we do get to have and make like little highlight reels and stuff like that for social media, and showcase what we do actually do in the ring, like the tag moves we do, and like really showing that we are different. So we'll see what happens. I have a good feeling that that opportunity could come one day.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are definitely a serious tag team. I mean, from what some of us just saw at JCW in that tag team bout that you guys had, that you guys contributed as much as everyone did on that match. And for people that didn't watch it, it is up on YouTube. So you guys are definitely a serious tag team, and I personally also do see gold in the future for Yokai. Um, so wrapping this up, you're gonna be in Japan for a while, and we're already 6 months into 2023, which is crazy to me. What are your goals
Mhm.
for the rest of 2023 besides Japan?
So, gosh, I just been going with the flow with everything at this point because everything has just been happening randomly, like all these opportunities. So I'm kind of like, I kind of feel like it's telling me to, yeah, just go with the flow right now. Like you can have your goals, but like everything's flowing pretty well. Let's not try to rush it or try to like push it too much because it will happen for sure. So I know that's why I'm kind of like when I come back for my longer stay in Japan, I know that's gonna be another kind of like step up. And because usually when people do come back from Japan, like from long stays or whatever, something dramatically does happen. I see it all the time. There's never a moment where I just don't see something happen for a wrestler coming back from Japan. So that's why I'm kind of like, we'll see what happens with me when I come back. Yeah, I don't have anything set like set wise when it comes to goals for the rest of the year.
I got it.
Got it.
I got to add on to the point here. My apologies. What I love about you, Janai, is as they say, the grind never stops. And I think what we found out here in today's forum, as we all should do, support pro wrestling, support independent wrestling, support wrestling all over the world. And personally, just here and talking like you're wrestling, in magazines and stuff, much like you saw back in the days with the Ultimo Dragons with the 9 championships. Maybe we can see something like that for a Janai Kai. I really can't wait to see the
Yeah.
future and the influx of what you do going forward. I just have to put that out and support all pro wrestling folks.
Yeah, thank you.
You're very welcome.
So the way I like to end every episode, I've actually been waiting for this. Well, I've actually been waiting for this moment right here because I wanted to compare it to Yo-Yo's. So we end every episode. Michael's kind of new to this. I end every episode by asking you guys a question. The question is, if you had the attention of the entire world, I'm talking about you're on national television broadcasting to the entire world for 5 minutes, and you had to give them one piece of advice, what would it be?
That's a good one. Hmm. Like with the one thing that I always just refer back to is kind of like what I mentioned. It's just like with like going the flow, take your time with whatever you want to do, especially if you know that it's something you'll be really good at, or you know it's for you, or if it's calling your name, and you know what steps to take. Like everyone kind of has that thing, like they know they're able to do, they know the steps that they need to take. It's just like they sort of don't really think about the gray areas. They don't think about like the little things that might pop up. So all I'm gonna say is like really just trust the whole process, take your time, and trust even those little obstacles, those little difficult times that are trying to get in your way. Even trust that because that should be happening when you're trying to reach any type of goal. So just know that that particular thing is actually going to be helpful for you and make it 1,000 times better for you when you reach that goal.
That's
Beautifully said.
that's actually pretty good. Michael, what did you think about that?
I gotta say that was beautifully said,
All
and
right. Do you want
I'll get my pop culture nerdiness in here, man. It's kind of like the old Ice Cube song, "Until we witch." You get your mind right, get your grind right. You got to keep going. That's what you got to do.
I was literally thinking, I was literally thinking about that. So Yoya,
Uh-oh.
when Yoya had the mic to
You
tell
good?
the world something, he literally said, "Gamble all your money away." And I believe that's the best I've ever heard. I, I literally believe he had
Oh,
for the entire world, his best piece of advice was to gamble all your money away. And that was the most listened to episode ever. So
oh
think
no.
think the
Well,
world.
a lot of people must have lost like a lot of brain cells after listening to that one. I wouldn't follow that advice to be honest, but it's Yoya, so as expected.
Um Michael's there.
Really, all I can say, like we mentioned earlier before, I think what's great about professional wrestling, and not just the future, to be repetitive about that, which and I think so much out there, and I think it's so great to see more companies focusing not just on women's wrestling, but competition breeds competition. And I think the opening of so many independents really coming to fruition, whether it be stateside or internationally speaking, I think that helps her a lot. And I think this young lady and many of the young ladies that are coming up in the business are really being taught the right thing, going to the right wrestling school. And I think the future has such prominence and just has such precision going forward. And Janai, you were probably one of my favorite talents out there today with that beautiful roundhouse kick of yours that we saw in your match with Renee. So I gotta say, you live up to your name and your acronym of the Kick Demon. I gotta give you much love and respect once more.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Exactly what he said. Honestly, I feel like a lot of people are looking up to you as well now. Like I see you all over in terms of like independent wrestling. I see your name get thrown out a lot in good ways, and I think you're doing something very big for honestly not only the female talents but even the male talents. Um, honestly, like we had Akira on um months ago, but he talked very good about you and how he has seen you come up and stuff. So I just can't wait to see what comes next for Janai. I mean, especially with that trip to Japan and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
I hope everything happens to you. Good things happen to good people, and you definitely deserve everything that's gonna happen to you soon.
Thank
Um,
you.
but with that being said, if Michael, you don't have anything else.
Really, all I can say is I think what we definitely once more saw here in today's forum, God is good all the time, and God gives us a lot of great blessings. And you, my friend, Miss Janai Kai, are a true blessing. And I can't wait to see once more where the future goes for you. So thank you once more.
Thank you.
Welcome.
And before we go, Janai, is there anything coming up that we should be looking out for besides Japan? Because I know that's
Um,
like a big one.
yeah, there's a couple more shows that I'm be wrestling at before that long stay. Um, I think I don't know when this interview is coming up, but like Saturday's Battle Club Pro, which is like another
Uh,
promotion I enjoy 100%. Like everyone there is family, which you know.
yeah, I was gonna say,
Um,
I was actually I had about them and I forgot. Yeah, Battle Pro. This episode won't be up by the time the show happens. Well, yeah, people can
yeah.
watch it after, but yeah, you're right. Yeah, they are.
Yeah, Battle Club. I also am making my Prestige debut. Yeah, there's two debuts
Yes,
happening in July. Prestige and Smash Wrestling in Canada. So
Canada.
Smash is it's another all women's show. Yeah.
Nice smash. We give us a lot of the great talents like we've seen with Rosemary, aka Courtney Rush, and Allie, and so many Cherry Bomb. Yes, gotta love Smash.
Yes.
Great prominences. Border City Wrestling Smash. Oh, I love it. Can't wait to see your debut for that.
So this has been, like I said, I've been waiting for a while for this to happen. It finally happened. It was awesome. This is episode 6. Janai, thank you for taking time out of your day to speak to us.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Truly meant a lot. Um, um, yeah, I'm your host for All Things Pro Wrestling, Danny Harrell,
My name is
with my
Michael,
new co-host,
Michael Larkin.
and we had Janai Kai today, and I think we touched up on very important topics, and I'm very happy that people are going to be able to hear this and support you even more.
Thank you.
So, no problem.